AgweekTV weather is brought to you by Kaler Farms.
You may recall back during the early part of the summer, I was giving the indication that it seemed to me that the second half of summer was going to be warm and dry across the northern plains. Did not work out that way. It was about average on temperatures, and if anything, it was quite wet across many areas. We're finally getting another round of late summer heat, but it's coming really at the very end of summer. Looking ahead into the early part of September, above average across a large part of the central United States. And this time, the above average temperatures will continue to be accompanied by some stormy weather and the potential for some locally heavy rains in some areas. It's courtesy of the jet stream, kind of a split jet stream right now, but the northern branch is definitely the strong branch right now and will be for this week and probably next week as well. This southern part fairly weak, allowing for plenty of warm temperatures to move northward up to about the Canadian border as we go through the week. Last week, you may recall 100 degrees at Portland, Oregon. Well, that part of that ridge is really bombing south. It's really diving into a big low pressure trough, and it's this southwest to northeast flow over the Rockies that I think will bring up the possibility for some rounds of stormy weather, especially whenever we get a fast jet stream streak to move across the northern plains region. Plenty of heat and humidity to the south, cool weather to the north, and the energy in the atmosphere necessary for some storms from time to time. So let's check the forecast. This week, I do think there'll be some stormy conditions at times, probably 2 or 3 rounds of thunderstorms in the Canadian border region, North Dakota, northern Minnesota, southern Manitoba. The west part of the country is looking pretty dry, except for the Pacific Northwest, although it's just trees there, so that's not agricultural, unless you're interested in grass seed in Oregon or vegetables. There will, I think, continue to be concern about tropical storms in the southeastern states and potential for locally very heavy rain. I think we'll continue to see northeast Corn Belt pretty dry. That'll spread up into parts of the northeast, and then, of course, it's really a lot of northern North Dakota, northern Minnesota that will be fairly wet. Now, temperature-wise, it's going to be above average in many areas. The far northern plains, especially here, North Dakota, northern Minnesota, will be back and forth. South of here, a lot of late summer heat this week. And then next week, it's still going to be pretty warm, with at least a few days in the 90s, including maybe around Labor Day weekend, and a summer heat extension for much of the United States. In terms of precipitation, it's going to be dry in the southwest, rainy in the Pacific Northwest. I'm pretty confident about that. Don't really have many indicators for the southeastern states. In other words, it could go either way. Probably more evaporation than anything else. But across the northern plains, I think a second week of potentially fairly stormy weather, especially northern North Dakota and parts of Minnesota. So hot weather in the northern plains to finish out the summer. It will be stormy at times, and I do expect a fairly warm Labor Day weekend coming up with temperatures on at least a day or two in the 90s.